Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You know that moment when you realize you have mastered your wellness. When you've become so resilient, you can conquer any hiccup life throws you. Yeah, well, me either. But I still ride unicorns. I'll teach you how to become a mindset master. You will learn how your habits and behavior affect your success of nutrition, exercise, relationships, organization, and so much more. It's your reality, and you need to do it your way. Self-care and self-love are anything but selfish. Take charge. Get excited. If not now, then when? Grab your espresso and get ready to talk all things wellness. It's time for Coach, Couch, and Coffee Radio with Coach Peggy Willms right now.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Coach, Couch, and Coffee Radio. I am so excited to you today. I'm going to bring to you part 3 of our 4-part series. Remember, we've been talking about procrastination up to this point. Now we're going to talk about disorganization. You can catch me every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 Pacific. I always bring my unicorn mug, as you know. Yes, dehydrated, so make sure you grab your water or your favorite beverage. You can always find me on 3wellnesspillars.com. That's my website, or YouTube. That's probably the best place for you guys to see all these radio shows, because if we stop going live at about the 30-minute mark, we go into the after party, either catching me Facebook Live or on YouTube is truly the best way to see it all. So that's where you want to head. Deep breath, disorganization, part 1. So what comes first? Procrastination or disorganization, and then we procrastinate because we're so disorganized. That really is the biggest argument. It's not really an argument, but it's kind of one of the conversation pieces that I have with my clients often. And both of them can make you feel positive, or they can make you feel super negative. Both of them can affect the perception of yourself or how others perceive you. What I want you to remember, though, is it does not mean you're lazy if you do either one. It does not mean that you are a slob or a unclean person. Does not mean that. It does not mean that you should be disrespected, or you're not intellectual, or you're not capable. It truly just means simply you procrastinate and you're disorganized. And we have to figure out some strategies and tools that work in your real world. There are lots of books, lots of studies out there you can read. Pieces of them will work for you. Pieces of them won't work for you. It's important to figure out what works in your family, for you, your work. All right, so let's keep going. I want you to think about, I'm going to put procrastination over here on the back burner, and we're just going to talk about disorganization. And the main thing is we're going to go through a list, and it's a pretty long list. And you don't have to sit down and write it down right now. Maybe just listen to it over and over. But the reality is, if you're not opening your mail and there's some things that you're not doing, and maybe your garage is in a shamble, or you're not preparing even simply your weekly menu on how to eat, or whether you have groceries in the house, those types of things can build up and weaken your mental muscle, which is just like your quadricep. It's a muscle that needs to be used. So those all weaken. And disorganization kind of builds on top of each other, and it'll start going room to room, start going to work with you. Your car will start being disorganized. So what we're going to go over in the next 2 weeks, here we go. We're going to be talking about what is disorganization, which we kind of know. I don't even need to really tell you that. It is subjective, though. So what I think is disorganized for me may not be for someone else. So own that. Then we're going to talk about the whole list. I'm going to go through to see, are you disorganized? And you can think about different areas. So you have to admit that right up front. I'm going to give you some fun, super fun facts. Then we're going to talk about all ways, pros and cons. And then what areas you are disorganized in. Because there's usually certain areas, and certain areas might lead up to then other areas being disorganized. So let's talk about the areas in a little bit. And then guess what else? Disorganized people tend to fib. They do. I don't really call them liars because I hate that word liars. There are some people pathologically out there that are just damn liars. There are. But there are certain fibs that disorganized people or procrastinators say. And I want to throw some of those at you to see if you resonate with some of them. Yes, we all do it. So I'm going to talk about some fibs. And then in the next show, next week, we are going to talk about tips that not only relate to disorganization, but procrastination kind of together. And then how being disorganized affects your wellness. It's huge. I would say with my clients, if they start to procrastinate or they start to get disorganized, absolutely they're not the healthiest they've ever been. Absolutely they are not living their quality life. They are directly related. Disorganized in one area of your life, you're absolutely disorganized in other areas of your life. So, what is disorganization? Figure it out. It's not being organized. It's the dis of organization. All right, let's talk about deciding if you're disorganized. It's like the hardest thing to admit. It's like trying to admit if you are addicted to something. I wonder if there's some studies out there of blank many people are addicted to being disorganized, because it probably does lead into some sort of comfort. It probably does lead into some sort of excelled pace of disorganization. I'll have to look that up for y'all. So I don't know the answer to that, but we're going to go through some things. You can always look back, listen to this. I'm going to give you I think I've got maybe 19, 20-ish things that I want you to listen to. I'm telling you right now, if you come up with, I used to say about half of these, then you're definitely disorganized. I have shrunk that percent. If you resonate with about 25% of these, you are disorganized. And it comes in like the roller coaster of life. So there are going to be certain areas of your life that it is absolutely more often than others. Here we go. So, do you hit your alarm regularly more than 2 times? Yep. I don't, but do you? I love to get up before the alarm. Stupid me, silly me. Are you struggling finding matching socks? Laundry is a big deal. We're going to talk about that in tips next week. What about, do you struggle to find anything for yourself in the office or stuff for the kids for school? Keys. Are you often running late to appointments or meetings? Oh, yeah, could be disorganized. What about, do you absolutely need to have reminders for, say, anniversaries or even birthdays or meetings or health appointments? Do you need them? Forgetting items. Again, if your kids need those for school, you're always running back for the backpack. What about, are you saying you feel disorganized or you feeling disorganized? The next one's really important. Have you had conversations about you being disorganized or maybe in arguments about you not being organized? That happens a lot. You forget to call people back. Another one. How about this one? I've done this. You all done this. Go to the grocery store for a specific person or purpose or person. Maybe you're going to get a person at the grocery store. But you're going to the store for a certain item and you end up back home for the exact item you forgot to go get. I can't stand that, but that happens all the time. You don't go with a list. What about the daily goals? Some of us try every single intention to be organized and we make that lovely list. What if at the end of the list on that day, that list doesn't get accomplished even halfway? Or what about your list at the end of the week doesn't get accomplished? I bet you're disorganized. Couple more. You often feeling tired? Are you saying you're tired? What about, here's another one. Let's see. Are you always flipping through the TV? That's one. Flipping through the TV, watching Netflix, playing Candy Crush. But while you're doing it, you're worried about not being organized or something that you haven't gotten done. Huge. Vacations, or it doesn't have to just be something you don't like. You can even procrastinate or be disorganized in organizing your vacations or parties for your friends, something you really like to do. I'll give you a few more. Do you maybe drink or gamble or smoke to reduce stress of being disorganized? I know you don't think that relates, but it does. Do you have plenty of free time, but no time for yourself? I'm going to keep going with you. Got a couple. Are you busy, but have nothing to show for it? That's my absolute favorite. I should put that at the top. I hear that all the time. Too busy, too busy, too busy. And what about if you're screwing up relationships? Being disorganized is really big deal with relationships and arguments with relationships. And then the last one I want to share with you is, are you feeling like there's a lot of excuses that you're using, that you are not getting things done, or you're breaking your promises? So if you're saying any of these things above, if you're seeing them in a quarter percent, a quarter of the, not 50%, but even a quarter percent of those that I've shared, then we need to give you some tools and strategies to improve that. It's going to improve your quality of life. Can't even express that to you. So let's continue on. I'm going to give you some fun facts. Ready, set, go. You probably learned somewhere to be disorganized. Sometimes what it is you've seen somebody be disorganized, and so you follow that because we're learned behavior, most of us, or somebody harped at you. Pick that up, do that. You've got to, why aren't you doing those things? Why is your room a mess? And so it's a control issue. We end up taking over and say, I'm going to leave my room a mess. I never could as a kid. Okay, another fun fact. 80% of what we have, we don't use, especially in our closet. Think of that. We wear 20% of our clothes over and over again. Since I moved to Florida, I can tell you that that's the God's honest truth. 50% of homeowners say their garage is the most disorganized place in their life. I bet that's true for a lot of you. And then we need to learn to improve our skills and strategies on all those areas. If the fun facts are true and we got to get rid of a bunch of clothes, come on, you guys, that's kind of easy to do. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about let's go with the cons first versus the pros. Pros are always easy to go with. Everybody always starts with the pros. Cons. Okay, let's see. How about wasted time? People waste so much time when they're disorganized, looking for things, redoing things. How about that? And you're wasting time because you could be places and it's embarrassing. Baseball games for your kids. The strain that it causes on personal and professional lives. We've talked about that. You're not fulfilling your promises. That's a con. Depression, emotional, feelings towards yourself. That can certainly be a con. Lack of productivity and execution. You can even have lack of promotions, you guys, from being disorganized because those promises don't get met. Arguments. Pros to being disorganized. Let's talk about the pros. I have a hard time finding any pro. This is what I hear though. I get to live more in the moment. I have more time. You heard me say that on procrastination. I have more time. And so I get to live in the moment, and I'm going to, why is it important that I have my garage clean when I could be doing blank, blank, and blank? Okay. I hear that all the time. Discovery. People say, I'm going to take my time going through those pictures because I know there's something I'm going to find in my family, and I just want to take my time going through them. And that could be like 2 or 3 years before you go through family photos, you guys. So people say that's a pro. Let's see. I'm going to donate some clothes. So I want to take my time going through that because I don't want to get through anything, go through something and give away something that I really like. So that's a pro. And then maybe control. I talked to you guys about that in a little bit earlier, is that a lot of people who are disorganized may have been forced to be organized in their life. And they're like, heck no, nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to leave my clothes on the floor. So a couple other things. Let me see. My creative people, for sure. My painters, they want to have their craft room disorganized because they say that's where or how they get their muse. I kind of might believe that. But eventually you got to organize it. I mean, what if your paints are expired? That would be terrible. Pros for finances. Really? How can that be a pro? If you're not paying your bills and opening your mail, how can that be a pro? I'm planning for retirement. I want to talk to an expert. I mean, come on, I can't back you on that. Sorry. A couple of other things. Let me see. Some arguments on pros. How about relationships, you guys? Relationships are taxed. I don't believe that. Your inside and outside chores, you can assign them. How can that be a pro? I'm good at the inside chores and he's good at the outside chores. So we're still trying to figure out who does what. So it's an excuse to not get them done. Let's see. I really would like to talk about closets in a little bit, and I want to talk about kitchens and more on relationships. So I think people are disorganized the most in their health and wellness. And I really am going to talk to you about that in the tips that we hit next week. So you need to make sure that you show up next week. You know what I'm saying? You ready to go into some fibs? So now you hopefully figured out if you're disorganized. That would be lovely. And now you figured out the pros and cons, figure out where you lie. Now you want to hear some fibs? You know you're a fibber. Oh, I don't know which one's my favorite. I've certainly heard them all. What do we fib about? We fib about not having enough time. We're busy. We don't have enough time to get all those things done, and they just keep stacking up and stacking up. But I'll tell you what, I have a show, I have a YouTube video on 168 hours. That is literally all each of us have. So if you're not organized in those areas, you're going to be one of those that just feel like you're busy and you get nothing done. You need to categorize which areas you're going to tackle and figure it out, because you're not going to get any more time than any of us do. Okay. I'm overloaded. Well, the reason you're probably overloaded is because you're redoing a bunch of stuff. Look how much rework being disorganized can cause. It's a gob of rework. Often even the rework of having to go buy things, rebuy things, redo things, can't find paper, can't find pens. So it's not really that you're overloaded. Perhaps if you're disorganized, it's the rework. People say they know right where everything is. Oh my gosh, I heard this so much. I'm not even going to tell you who I heard this so much from, raising them when they were growing up. I'm not going to pick that up, Mom, because I know right where everything is. I mean, I know if that's clean or not. I know right where everything is. No, you don't. You don't know where your stapler is. You don't know where your shoes are. That's an excuse. Or how about the fib of I was late because of an accident, or I was late because the alarm didn't go off, or I was late because of whatever. I totally bet you were late because you were disorganized. You didn't get the kids' backpack together. You didn't get your gym bag together. You didn't get your lunches together. And you were hauling butt out that door to get to work. And everything became slower. Feels like the traffic is even going slower. So, excuse, fib. Blame shifters. A couple others I want to cover. People who are disorganized blame everybody else. Think about if you guys do that. Well, I didn't get what I needed on time, or they were supposed to get me that report. Hey, sisters and brothers, go track those people down and get what you need. Hate blame shifters. Own up to it. Drives me crazy. And then the tomorrow to death. The tomorrow to death people. Oh my gosh, I can't get these minutes back. That's my Dr. Phil thing I've stolen. You have 5 times to tell me something, and if you don't, I don't want to hear it again. If you don't solve it, I don't want to hear it, because I can't get these minutes back. I hear this all the time. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to start tomorrow. The tomorrow to deathers. Well, guess what? Disorganized people want to start tomorrow because they haven't even started it. They are the 11th hour people who want to figure it out, find it. I think that should be the number one fib. Okay, so we are going to come back after this commercial break. We're going to go into an after party. Hopefully you have figured out if you are disorganized, if you are a fibber, and come on back. I have some amazing questions that I received from some clients on disorganization. Yes, I have. Come back to us. Again, you guys can email me always. Coach Peggy at 3wellnesspillars.com. I can work with you through this. If you are disorganized, you are not as healthy as you could be. So let's come on back. See you soon. All right, you guys, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. We're talking about disorganization. Again, this is part 1 of disorganization. We actually have 2 parts. Next week, the 23rd, coming back for the 4th part of this 4-part series. 2 for procrastination. You can already see that was on the 2nd and the 9th, I believe. And then this first part, and then you can always come back for part 4. It's a lot. It's a lot to cover. I mean, it really is. And I don't think we take it serious enough, and I don't think we connect it to our wellness enough. And if you guys take this serious and you go through, find it on YouTube, find it on my Facebook, find it at Transformation Talk Radio or my website. No joke, this is probably one of the most important subjects that I coach people through and can change your life. It can change relationships. My love, Kat, my little producer, you're right there, I'm sure.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, Peggy. I didn't realize you were here. So we've chatted about all this stuff. So there's 2 things I want to ask you. I want to ask you, is there a certain area in your life you're disorganized, whether it's closets, mail, whatever? And then I want to ask you what your biggest fib is.
I'm most disorganized in planning. Anything.
Oh, planning ahead or planning when you have something set?
I can plan on the fly. Planning ahead is like nails on a chalkboard sometimes.
Seriously, I think you need to figure out your astrological sign again. We always talk about this because you and I are both Capricorns. Sister. That is so many things. And you were in the military, right? That's kind of
change on the fly. Well, you follow orders, so it's different.
But they're still barking at you.
That's true.
So, did you come from a military family?
In a manner of speaking, but it wasn't a culture of military family.
Right.
It was drafted to individuals usually.
I gotcha. Because, lots of times with people who struggle with planning ahead, totally going off script here, but lots of times it's called like finding your own GPS or your own path. And many times, I'm not saying this is you, but many times we've kind of been told what to do or it was barked at us. And if you think that kind of flowed right maybe into your military. So if you have somebody who's super organized or likes to plan as a parent or a leader who is saying, grab your backpack, go do this. Did you get your lunch? Where are your clothes? You don't learn your own kind of GPS or path because somebody's going to be speaking in your ear all the time. Not that happened to you. Well, so what do you do for tips to keep yourself and not get in trouble and piss off everybody? What do you do?
Other people hold me accountable.
So
it's my job in my household to plan out the meals, the dinners, do the shopping, etc.
That's super. You've assigned some things then.
A lot, and sometimes have a grilled cheese twice in a week. So This is me planning ahead.
Hey, you can always duplicate those things if you don't get bored. What do you fib about the most when it comes to disorganization? I was just going to get to that.
It's hard to remember your own fibs, isn't it?
Oh gosh.
I convinced myself that was true.
Oh gosh. I keep copious notes on my clients' charts and then I type up their recaps. So I have individual Facebook sites for every client, like private sites. So they have their whole history there. And so I do the recaps. So the notes are in their chart. Then I type up the recaps. Then it's in their own Facebook. Because I'll tell you, not only do they forget as soon as we get off our session, but I do too. So the fibbing, if you come back and you've forgotten your fib that you told me the week before, I'm going to catch you.
No, I just thought of it. It's the fib is usually in when I'm caught out of having not planned and like, well, I didn't plan it because, and really there was no reason.
Right. It's just an excuse. Yeah. You've got to dial that down as to whether sometimes it's because you don't want to and you could assign it to somebody. Seriously, like hire somebody to go get your closets done. It could work for you. All right. I have some awesome questions that I want to share with you guys. So I reached out to some of my clients, a huge amount of my clients, and got some back. And I love it when I get them back and there's some similarities or the same topics keep coming back because it really embeds in me that I might know what I'm doing. That kind of helps a little bit. But the number one question that I got back, I cannot tell you how many funny stories I have about this one. Here's this question. I hate the mail. Oh, I have been this way my whole entire adult life. It is one of those areas my husband and I argue about the most. Please help. Wow. Oh my gosh, you guys. All the time this happens. That's the first place I'll go, actually. There in the laundry, the first two places I'll go and kind of trick people into answering those questions for me to be able to tell how organized, what level they are with their wellness. So here are some steps that I want this person, and actually I respond to these people back directly, but I want to share with you in case this resonates with you. So what I think with mail that is most important is to realize that by avoiding the mail, you still have to pay those bills. Like, it isn't going away. And I would rather have you pay the bill, or at least pay half of it, or call them and tell them you can only pay $25 this month, than to be spending all your money on the NSF fees in the bank because you pay too much next month, or the late fees. So just recognize you have to pay it. Come on, man. So the other thing you can do is, what I love is to try to assign, it sounds super organized, but this works. So if it's a spouse or a partnership, you can assign something right down to, you are going to get the mail. So Sally, you are going to get the mail, and it's going to go here in this one place on the desk. So you never have to say, did you get the mail or did you get the mail? Well, how many days has it been in there? Argument's done. Sally, it's your job. Then she knows. Get it on the counter or the desk. Then what you can do is, maybe even that person isn't, which I recommend, it's the same person, then can kind of do piles. If you're not in a relationship where the person says, do not open my mail, I am a believer that if the mail is addressed to you, you don't open that dang thing, okay? So you can do piles. This is Sally, this is John's, this is junk. 3 piles. Or you might agree right up front, the junk pile just is tossed. So what I like to do is then have those 3 piles and set a time. No joke. You get the mail on every Sunday, and everything better be opened by the following Sunday and dealt with. And that reasonable time might be too long for some of you guys, but it's darn sure better than having the mail sit there for a month. So my love bug who just is struggling with the mail, any of you guys, please, that's it. If you have another idea, email me. Okay, here's the next question. Why can't I just do the laundry, I'm not kidding, from start to finish? I can never get it done. I can never even get it from the dryer to the drawers or even the closets in one day. Then I can't tell where anything is or if it's even clean. What a waste of time. Okay, so here's a suggestion. This is a big one for me. Don't do any laundry during the week if you don't have time to do it from start to finish, period. I don't care if you have to do 10 loads on the weekend and get everybody else to help you. Do not do small loads at all, any loads during the week. You just told me you didn't have time, right? So don't. Go plan your meals. Get over it. What I can also suggest is, if you have to do a load, do a smaller load of the absolute needed. Don't get distracted. Don't get ADHD and say, oh, I'm in a good mood, I'm going to do it all. No, you're not. No, you're not. So you could do a smaller load. The other thing I like is to do the laundry, wash, dryer, and then get it on your bed. If you struggle from doing the whole entire thing from beginning to end, throw it all on your bed. Because you can make a rule that I am not going to bed, sleep tonight until it's folded and put in the drawers and hung. I do not put it on the floor. What a waste of time. What a waste of time. And then the last thing is the majority of the time, you don't want to put it in your closets. You don't want to put it in your drawers, as they're already, I wish I could say this on air, but I can't. They're already a mess. And you don't want to shove things in there. So it's time for you to figure out how to donate a bunch of that stuff. Because remember, I just told you, you only use 20% of what you have anyways. So let's get rid of it. Last one, I'm going to hear a lot of crap about this one. Everybody needs to do their own laundry, period. I don't care. If you're not teaching your teenagers by 11 or 12 to at least bring it and explain how to use the washer and dryer. And if you're a man, or if you're in a partnership, if you guys aren't doing your own laundry, done. I ain't your mama. I am not your mama. I did that before, so do your own darn laundry. Let's just do one more of these. My desk at work is killing me. We even moved my office again, our offices again, and I told myself I wouldn't get this disorganized, yet within a month I was. All right, what that tells me, you're struggling doing one thing at a time and finishing it through. when somebody gets disorganized right away in their office, what if you guys are one of these? And I do this. I am not kidding. You have that pile of, I'm absolutely going to read that, or I'm going to want that for a reference, or that's a great study, or maybe a recipe, and it ends up in all these, I'm going to read it places. So on my desk, what I have is that right corner, up in the right corner. And if I don't use that stuff in a month, it's gone. It's either pieces of it are broken off and used for certain series right away, certain folders that I'm going to do, certain classes, or it's tossed. Because you guys, you can find everything online now. So what I would say is keep one side of your desk if you got stuff you're not going to read, or make those piles with a sticky note. Meeting, if you're an attorney and you got to do certain things that have got to be done in priority. But if your desk is organized at home, it will be at work, and vice versa. If it's not organized at home, it won't be at work. And how does that make you feel? Yuck. You should set up alarms or something on your calendar or your phone to just try to tackle it a few days a week for like 10 or 15 minutes. Don't you love those questions? I thought those were pretty cool. Kat, are you disorganized at work?
Less than I am at home.
Well, your workspace is a little smaller. If it was bigger, would you be more disorganized? Uh-oh.
Probably.
She's like, give me more room and I'm going to have more disorganization. Yeah.
I can fill a horizontal surface. Just get me to it.
Yeah. They actually, that's one of the tips too. The bigger the workspace, if you're a disorganized person, then the more disorganized you are. The bigger the house. Doesn't mean you want more. You're just going to bring in more clutter, right? Okay, you guys. So next week is part 4 of disorganization. I want you to come back, try to get caught up if you possibly can. All the tips are coming at you next week. We're going to connect it to some wellness, give you some ideas. You can always reach me at 3wellnesspillars.com, Coach Peggy at 3wellnesspillars.com. Got my podcast out there, Coach Couch and Coffee Radio. And I'd love you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I have a lot of fun stuff out there. So maybe you want to be on my show. That would be cool. So reach out to me. Let's chat. You can reach me every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 over there, Western Pacific. So we'll talk to you real soon. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Did you hear something that made you go, or have an aha moment? I live for those. If not, we will get you next time. I will be back every first and third Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. The tough love you to become smarter, stronger, braver, healthier, and happier. Duh. I will be back with a barrel of positivity, and you never know when a guest might pop in. There is no time for excuses. So don't forget to bring your coffee and an open mind as we talk all things wellness on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Now go grab a ray of sunshine.